Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you're all doing well, and welcome to the showdown between the Beastmen and Grand Cathay. So yes, the Beastmen did kind of get a DLC as well. So Beastmen now have access to Zangors, as well as the Elemental Incarnate from the Kislev roster, which is super awesome. And man, you know, the Beastmen have a really lightly armored front line outside of the Bestigor, which is really kind of subpar unit. But now that they have access to Zangors, which are an 80 armor, relatively durable, hard-hitting frontliner, this is going to be changing up the meta for the Beastmen. They're going to be a much stronger faction, and they have one of the better anti-large single entities in the game now with the Elemental Incarnate. So yeah, there's, you know, the happy moves are on the way. Don't you guys worry. As far as the build goes, we're going to be spamming Zangors into the sunset. So we have 4 of them in total, I think. And they're going to be ambushing and pushing, and they honestly, in my experience, do outtrade Jade Warriors. They cost 200 more, so they should outtrade them. But they're also pretty swift, can move around at 40 speed, and are not joking about. Now, bringing back an Ancient Forbidden Evil, I don't think that double Cygor is like super meta by any stretch of the imagination, but I figured that, you know, in the build here, the War Drums of Cathay are a very exciting thing to bring, and it kind of encourages a halberd box style of play. And what better to bunker bust a box than a giant boulder? So we're going to be throwing boulders at the Cathay box here. Zangors, Malagor up in the sky. Could have gone Traderkin, but you know, that's boring. You guys see it every game. And Pendulum is still a very valuable spell against Grand Cathay. More Zangors on the other side. And for the forces of Professor Pone, he's going to be coming in here with Jade Warriors in the front. And in the secondary row, it's going to be Celestial Dragon Guard. And this is a pretty strong combo using the drum and just elite halberds. It's nasty because the drum, the Zhanggu drum, it gives harmony. So even without range units, it gives range units melee harmony and vice versa. So you can just kind of have a melee box and give a big radius of harmony. On top of that, it has 2 modes. You can either give your nearby troops ITP, which against Beastmen is super pertinent, and also give them armor if you're fighting units that lack armor piercing. So it's a really cool piece, and I actually do think on some maps, like smaller maps where the fighting's going to be centralized on one objective, like, I can see the Zanggu War Drum being brought. I think that could be very strong. Probably mangling that. One Sky Lantern as well. Certainly not going to be hurting. So boulders coming from the deeps. And yeah, here we go. Oh, boulders for the Boulder God. It feels good. You know, Cygors were one of my favorite units to use in Warhammer 2. And they just didn't really find a place in domination mode. But I do think there are a couple niche matchups in which they're decent. I mean, they're still big armor-piercing monsters when they run out of ammo, kind of like miniature giants of sorts. And if you are expecting elite infantry boxes or anything like that, I mean, yeah, Cygors are, they're your boys. They can do some work for sure. So Zangor's going to be parking in the trees, and here we do have access to the Wargors. We brought 2 of them on foot. But the thing is, Jan Bo, he is one of the Cathay. One of their big weaknesses in the previous DLC, or not DLC, but patch cycle, is that you know, Cathay couldn't really kill foot characters very effectively. So they'd often bring Gotrek and Felix and go really expensive with Miao Ying. But Yuan Bo is like the hunter of men's souls. He's got great stats, armor piercing, bonus versus infantry, and he has an execution ability. So when a unit gets below a certain HP threshold, he can basically take him down. So Righteous Lances of Wei Jin were called in, and they're going to be chasing Malagor. So as long as my micro doesn't slip up, I should be okay, because he's got 121 speed, which is just ludicrous, compared to the 105 in the Righteous Lances. So I do have the speed advantage. We'll see if that comes into play. On the far side, Zangor's waiting in ambush, so they're going to be lurking in the bushes here and looking to pop out on the Celestial Dragon Guard any moment. And we do see the prize, but the Celestial Dragon Guard would win that fight. It's just their armor and their stats. I think they would get it, although I don't know. The Zangors, in their current state of health, might be able to get it. So Malagor just flying in circles. He did drop a pendulum on the bushes against the Celestial Dragon Guard. And next up, we're going to be calling out, I believe, some Razorgors to try and punch through the armor. So here comes the boys, so the hero characters of the Beastmen. They don't have the best armor piercing, but they have good enough stats. These Wargors are going to be able to punch through the Celestial Dragon Guard and, you know, take a couple models down with every swing, which is, you know, you don't need to ask for much more than that. That's a pretty good deal against these elite troopers. And Yuan Bo's on his way in, so things are going to get a little bit crazy, and also the Empress's Crowmen. So these things are awesome, and I think will be a multiplayer staple. They have a bombardment, which has pretty good armor piercing values and just really can nuke any infantry unit, and then they themselves have good stats and really good clearing power. I think the Crowmen are an excellent addition to Grand Cathay and really allow you to kind of defend your backfield. So we were banking for a while for the Incarnate Elemental Beast. This thing is absolutely insane. I can see this thing being very overpowered in land battles. It has a Mortis Tension effect, which is quite strong. It just has a constant flock of doom around it, but it does go off if his HP gets low. But even still, this thing's an anti-large monster with 35 bonus versus large. It's no joke. So the Crowmen move in, the Empress's Crowmen, and they do have the Bastion of Great Cities, putting him up to 40 armor, which is pretty cool. So piling in to fight myself, we're going to be going for a pit fight with the Incarnate of Elemental Beast, but the Crowmen are holding pretty firm here. Meanwhile, Yanbo playing Benny Hill with my Razorgors, and I think he's faster. Yeah, he is, because he kept catching me doing some Dude, he's such a cool character. And I just couldn't escape him. Like, straight up, these Wargors, I could have maybe turned and fought. And he does have access to nets as well, which make him an even better hunter. So Yuanbo here able to beat down my Wargors and really force those guys back, which is not a bad play at all. Now, right here, there's going to be some Foul Witchcraft, Talons of the Night. Yuanbo does also have that, so he is able to get a big, big Vortex on my Zongors, which is going to be very punishing. On the side objective, I did prevent him from capping it for as long as I possibly could with these Zongor units, but they were eventually rode down by some Jade Lancers. So, you know, Tzeentch isn't going to be protecting him here. They're hanging out with the Beastie Boys, and the Beasts like to suffer. But Incarnate Elemental Beast, an absolute raid boss of a unit. It's already up to almost 800 value, using its anti-large attacks to nibble a little bit on the Zhangu War Drum. And its Mortis Engine, its Flock of Doom effect is very good, which is going to be insane. I mean, there's so many Mortis Engines that got added in this DLC. You have the Tzeentch one on the Mutalith Vortex Beast, which is way stronger than the Incarnate, but even still, yeah, this thing is crazy, crazy good. So Harpy's coming in from reserve. Cygor's still throwing boulders from downtown. One of my Wargors did get taken out. So my opponent's Lord was able to karate chop this bad boy, sending him back to the farm, putting him out to pasture, and I am down on value right now. I am certainly being out-traded a little bit, so I'm going to have to find some opportunities. Losing that Wargor was not fun, and I forgot to point out, I made a colossal blunder. I had Malagor get caught and surrounded by the Righteous Lances, and his mask wasn't good enough to escape. So my Lord got karate chopped, a big blunder. That was actually right back here. So now Homeboy's going to be running for the hills, getting hunted down by the Crowmen, and we are going to see what happens as this game continues to envelop here. Razor Gore's going to be sitting on the point, grinding away, while the Zongors, sustain and fight, which is crazy. Beastmen never get to have tanky infantry outside of Bestigors, which are terrible. The Bestigors have, like, what, 20 melee defense or something? These things are up in the 30s with 80 armor. I mean, they're just so much better than Bestigors. And I believe they still have their magical ability, so when I cast spells, yeah, look at that. So their base damage does go up. Their intensity is 66. So as long as I'm just casting spells, that's really, really good. Wow. And wait, does it say allies or enemy cast spells? Oh, that's so good. Zongor's OP. Yeah, they're going to be a very, very big staple for sure. So trying to save Malagor here in the backfield, the Crowmen of Cathay chasing me down, which is something I didn't think I would be hearing, that Cathay was able to fly after me with something very quack. They're not ducks. With the Harpies chasing, hopefully we'll be able to peel those off. Cygors are starting to scoot and shoot a little bit. We're moving up and throwing boulders as we approach. One boulder should be a relatively direct hit there, taking down a couple Jade Lancers, while the Elemental Incarnate continues going bananas. It's Mortis Engine effect hitting the nearby troopers, and it's trying to drag down the War Drum, but its mass doesn't have enough to actually push through the pigs for some reason. I was like giving attack orders and it was getting stuck. Now top objective is under my control, side objective under the control of Grand Cathay, and we do have the Destroyers of Drakwold over here fighting tooth and nail on this point, but they'll eventually lose to Celestial Dragon Guard and Jade Lancers, but they'll do a good job holding it, hanging in there. So Malagor is back. He's going to be flying around. 99 speed. He's a little bit beat up, but he was saved by the Harpies, and we still have a couple pendulums that we can get before we probably try and unsummon him. And the Elemental Incarnate is still a little bit trapped up there, the mass problems being an issue. So this flank does get collapsed. These Zongors do get overwhelmed by the Celestial Dragon Guard and the Jade Lancers. Now the side objective looking like it could be threatened. Professor Pone going for a sneaky, sneaky Cathay cap as the Peasant Horsemen do move over towards objective number 3. So they're going to be trying to grab that one. And on the other side, the Centaurs with great weapons going to be looping around looking for opportunities. Now we get a cannon called in. And the Elemental Incarnate isn't the tankiest of single entities. It does have good HP, but it has, 1,500 less than the Elemental Bear. I know that Gorgons, I think, are a little bit tankier and do have access to healing, but the AoE and the damage out aspect is really what you're looking for. But Yuanbo has just been basically the Punisher this game, pushing this thing back with a little bit of cannon support. Now we're going to be diving the backfield. Centaur is going to pick a fight here with the Peasant Horsemen. Granted, I didn't see him summon those in, so unfortunately the Centaurs are going to be intercepted, and I will miss my charge, but the Centaurs will probably still win that eventually. So we pull back. And we're going to be needing to defend objective number 3, as Grand Cathay is certainly spreading its wings here on the battlefield, taking over on a couple points. Just getting a desperation pendulum in, really. I figured, I was like, hey, what the hell? Might as well cast it. Don't know how long my Lord's going to be around at 500 HP. So Razor Gore's going to hustle over there and try and provide some cap weight to prevent me from losing that objective. And on the middle, Grand Cathay hanging it down. The war drums are being beaten in the deep once more. And I love the sound effects of that in the battlefield. It's so, so cool. Sneaky Harpies as well. So sneaking Harpies up around the side of the battlefield. We will be jumping on the Grand Cannon, and the Centaurs, of course, will be peasants. But, if we had gotten the charge, it'd be a much more decisive fight. But the fact that we didn't made it pretty close, which is unfortunate. And Centaurs with great weapons coming out of the bushes here to try and help us overwhelm the Celestial Dragon Guard and win one of those side points. So Cygors are back. They're throwing boulders, and we do manage to stabilize here. Razor Gores are just a top-tier unit. And yeah, they're able to clear out the cavalry. They're probably going to outtrade these Jade Lancers too, which is pretty nuts for the price point that you're paying for Razor Gores. But Empire Knight equivalents are pretty terrible against Razor Gores in my experience. Granted, they only have 45 armor, so maybe the Jade Lancers will find a way to win that matchup. but not with the Incarnate coming in here. So it's coming to drop the pain train. Malagor also flying by, looking for pendulum opportunities. I have to be careful. The old Sky Lantern can sit here and certainly can poke me down. It's now targeting the Elemental. The Flock of Doom is here, and the Giant Claws will be getting underway as we do see the Jade Lancers getting torn apart. I really, really like that CA gave the Beastmen this unit. I think that's such a cool touch for sure. Like, I can see, like, in the lore that Kislev, you know, with the Swamp Witches and, you know, Baba Yaga over there would find a way to kind of connect with the wild spirit of the Incarnate, but I can also see how the Beastmen would as well. So really, really cool stuff. So dive in the backfield here, and this is a big, big play for me. We take down we shut down the Iron Hill Gunners. The Dune Dragons are kind of pinned to the backfield. The cannon's offline, and now Cathay's reinforcements here are looking a little bit sparse. Those Destroyers of Drakwald have been the MVPs, so I don't know how they've survived this long, but they've just been battling it out with the Celestial Dragon Guard. Obviously going to be in a little bit of danger now as Yuan Bo goes for the kill on them. I believe he did execute one of my Wargors as well. So now we'll be collapsing into the middle. Another Pendulum coming down, and the Incarnate going to be doing his Atomic Pimp Slap. There he goes. And he does get it, as those Jade Warriors will be buckling here very, very soon. Razorgors are pretty much a hard counter. And double Cygors coming in, so I was kind of like, I felt like I was running out of steam, but I'm so not used to using Cygors. I'm like, wait a second, I have like 2 giant characters back here. Let's get those bad boys in here and just Hulk smash. That's going to be the game plan. Couple spears on the way in. Cathay's reinforcements a little bit blocked up, and we do start to get some momentum on the points. We park some Zangors here on the side, which are just waiting for Yuan Bo to leave. And the middle is going to be stolen by the Bray Herd as Grand Cathay looking to be a little bit bare bones here. They do have some reinforcements coming up. Value is very even. As far as healing goes, I don't think I have any healing. But the thing is, this big dragon character can't be everywhere at once. He could go into dragon form, which of course would allow my Incarnate to have anti-large against him, or he could stay in human form and be a little bit of a trickier target. So realizing he can't be everywhere, I see him waddling over to try and stop this, so I pull all of my Centaurs and Razorgors, and we're going to be collapsing on this point. Grand Cathay making a valiant stand here. The Celestial Dragon Guard with the Bastion of the Great Cities are going to be heavily armored, but now they're going to get ambushed by the Beastmen. Zongors emerging from the tree line, going to be taking them to the club, and those Celestial Dragon Guard pay the ultimate price. And that objective will be flipping, giving us a triple cap in this situation. So Iron Hill Gunners are on the way in. If we could just not lose anything big to the Iron Hill Gunners, because that's how this game could be thrown right now. The Iron Hill Gunners move up, and they pop down some of my big monsters, and the Celestial Dragon Guard, the Dune Dragons, mind you, get good combats against my SEs. I basically just have to make sure that doesn't happen, because currently we're going to be triple capping here in just a second. I believe we are. Yep, so we got the triple cap. No more points going to Grand Cathay. And now Yuan Bo has gone into Jade Dragon form. So he's ready to fight. He's a pretty scary fighter. Almost 600 weapon strength. He's going to be moving down the Emperor's Executioner, getting a nice attack against the Cygor. And I have to say, it's pretty refreshing to see these dragon characters not doing the humping animations and actually getting their attacks in. And knowing that those Iron Hill Gunners are the breadwinner for my opponent, I'm basically just going to be all-inning on them. I know they have Halberds standing on top of them, but, you know, the Beastmen, they can't wait. So we move in, and we do attack the Halberds from one side. We got the Zongors coming across, and over here, we do have the Zongors who are going to get in there and crush those peasants and also be able to deal and outtrade those Jade Warriors. So, man, because normally, like, the Beastmen wouldn't have, like, a sustainable infantry piece like that, but they are, like, honestly one of the bigger winners of this DLC. I mean, obviously, the 3 main factions got a ton of cool stuff in there, you know, but, like, Beastmen, like, man, they came out like absolute bandits. Getting Zongors and one of the best single entities in the game right now, the Incarnate, in my opinion, I think it's going to be a staple. I mean, obviously not every matchup. Like, I've played a couple games with it where it does die pretty quickly to some sort of focus fire from range, like, you know, against the Empire. War Wagons are just going to kill it, and it's not going to be cost effective. But, yeah, I do feel like, I don't know, like, or maybe it could use like 100 gold cost increase or something like that. It's just so much better than the Elemental Bear. I don't know why you would ever take the Bear as opposed to this thing. But the Incarnate now doing battle with Yuan Bo, and we do get the Empress's Crowmen coming in. You can see how effective these guys are. 1,300 value in their first life, and now they're back out for blood. Their Crowmen are really good, both the ROR and the basic variant. So up here, Jade Warriors approaching, side objective looking to be under our control, but Professor Pone with the big schemes, he's going to be coming across with the Celestial Dragon Guard, heading over to the point, while the Butchers of Kalkengard hustle over there to intercept and make sure we can hold on to this one. So you can see the execute icon is above this guy, but it's a little bit weird because, oh, it actually worked. Holy shit. I didn't think it worked like that. I was about to say, I was under the impression it only works on, let's go ahead and look. So maybe it's just single entities. Okay, so Emperor's max unit is a hero or lord. So yeah, unit is a lord or hero. So it seemed to work there. I could have sworn he had used it earlier, but I don't know. Maybe it works against SEs too. And the tooltip just is a little bit incorrect. The Butchers of Kalkengard coming in there, and it looks like there's going to be a net going down from my opponent, and it does net the old Beastmen here. But the Beastmen going to be cleaving away, chomping at the units, and certainly doing some okay work. Up in the top point, you can see the Zongors just absolutely dominate those Jade Warriors. It's just a super one-sided fight. The damage output isn't there for the Jade Warriors, but again, it's a 200 gold cost difference, so like a Foot Squire would do something similar to a Jade Warrior. So Jade Warriors are more of a holding piece. Their damage output isn't the best. But here, the Empress's Crowmen getting melted down, and the Cygor's actually able to do some big damage to the enemy Lord. So Yanbo here in a little bit of trouble. He does chase away the Cygors and does get a decent fight. But the problem is, like, though Cathay is keeping the value close and even a little bit ahead of myself, they're going to have problems like just getting the objectives in time. Cathay is not a good faction at grabbing points, and the Beastmen are actually really good at grabbing points. So right here, he does ninja the side, a couple of Peasant Horsemen with a... That's a great tactic there by my opponent as well. Save up, get an Alpha Strike of Capture Weight, come in before your opponent can respond. That was really smooth. But even still, we should be able to hold on to the middle objective. You can see the execution icon is here. Maybe he has another ability that I didn't see where he does like more damage against things that are low. Oh, okay. A unit with Executioner will execute units in combat below 20% threshold. Oh, wow. Okay, so he gets like an Executioner. I did not notice that. So he gets an Executioner on top of it. So maybe he has like a chance of proccing that when a unit's below 20%. That is a game changer, and that makes him a lot better for sure. I was wondering what happened because in the tooltip, I wasn't seeing it. Nearly executable is what that means. And then when it's orange, it becomes executable. All right, so we're learning together. That's what it's all about, ladies and gentlemen. So right here, we do keep fighting. Butchers of Kalkengard and Zongors are going to be duking it out right there. Harpies clawing away at the old Sky Lantern. And for the most part, Beastmen are just going to be able to hold on to the points. You can see here in the middle, we do get our Cygors on, providing capture weight. Grand Cathay trying their best to wrestle this one. But even still, we could just Helm's Deep down to the third objective and it wouldn't be enough. So that is going to be GG well played. The Bray Herd looking pretty good, but honestly, that game could have been won by either side. It's not like, you know, Cathay's new tools are very, very strong, but like I kind of like, in the process of sort of memeing and bringing like double Cygor, I kind of countered his build. Like if I had gone with the traditional Beastmen build and tried to get through these, it would have been way harder. Whereas like the double Cygor was a really good bunker buster that softened up his army. So ironically, the meme ended up paying off for sure. So GG well played, really fun stuff. Incarnate's insane, 2,700 value on that thing. It's just nuts. 4,600 on the dragon. Wow, that guy's a carry. I guess he killed both my guys, my lords, like just was my heroes. Yeah, just big havoc being caused. So yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed that one. And regardless if you're a Beastmen fan, Beastmen enjoyer, or Cathay, they're both going to be much better this patch, and both have a lot to bring to the table. So that's it for today, guys. Take care of yourselves, and we'll see you on the other side.